I personally didn't experience this, but I was there when it happened, so this left me traumatized. This happened probably around 2009 or 2010, and it was nighttime. So my dad and I were pretty much just chilling inside our bedroom. Yes, we share beds, while my mom was peacefully using the bathroom. Now, sometimes my mom can take a while in the bathroom, so me being such a child who longs for my mom's attention, went to go to the bathroom where my mom was in. So of course, I knocked first and said, "Mom, can I go in?" She asked, "Why?" So I had to make up an excuse as to why I needed to go in. So I said, "I just need to wash my hands." So she proceeded to open the door, and I went in to wash my hands. I swear to God, I was and still am a dumb child to this day, asking what my mom was doing. So right when I went out, my mom asked, "Who's there?" I didn't mind since I thought she was on the phone, but then she started screaming at the top of her lungs. So my father and I darted towards the bathroom and asking her what's wrong. Since she was panicking so much, we had to grab the keys and open the bathroom, and we literally saw a fucking dude peeking through at the bathroom window. So my dad, being super infuriated, he rushed outside the house with a gun and saw that it was one of the people who were working in our house. At this time, I was super terrified and tried calming my mom down. So my dad called the police and they were there immediately. Now, at this time, the man was trying to escape by jumping on our roof and then jumping to our neighbor's roof. And since my dad worked from the police force before, he was legally allowed to shoot. He grabbed his gun, but it didn't have any bullets. Then the next few events, I don't really know what happened, but I'm glad he got arrested. And also, what scared me the most was that he was also a drug addict. This happened a few years ago, when I was in college. I lived with a friend in the first floor apartment a few blocks off campus. The area we lived in was primarily apartment buildings that were built fairly close to one another, meaning you could walk between the buildings, but there was only about 4 feet of separation. So one night, my roommate and I were hanging out in the living room with my boyfriend. My roommate was sitting on an armchair near a window, and my boyfriend and I were sitting on the couch facing her. The blinds were down, but my roommate had a cat who'd broken a few slats, so there were gaps in the coverage. After a while of us sitting and chatting, my boyfriend casually states, "There's someone out there looking in at us," gesturing to the window my roommate was next to. She jumped up and away while my boyfriend got up to look. Whoever had been looking in had disappeared. My boyfriend then told us that he noticed a man standing out there looking in for a while. He said he didn't want to freak us out, and he was hoping the guy would just go away. Apparently, he'd been standing there for about 5 to 10 minutes before my boyfriend said anything. It really freaked my roommate and me out, so we triple-checked all of our locks and slept with the lights on that night. Flash forward a week or so later, we'd more or less forgotten about the incident. We'd fixed the blinds and moved on. My room was in the back of the apartment, down a long hall, while my roommate's room was just off the living room. It was probably 11 p.m., and I was sitting at my desk. I'd had the window that my desk was directly under open, with the fan blowing fresh air into my room. So I was doing homework, watching YouTube videos, when I heard a crash, followed by a scream, right outside my window. I freaked out and closed the window before going to wake up my roommate. We panicked together, trying to figure out what had happened for probably about 10 minutes, when we started seeing flashlights shining in through the tiny alley between our building and the building next door. We peeked out the windows, but we couldn't see anything that was happening. All of a sudden, there was a loud banging on the front door to our building. Our apartment was closest to the front of the building, so it was easy to hear from where we were. I grabbed my pepper spray, and we crept down the half flight of stairs. After peeking through the window, we opened the door to a police officer. He told us someone had tried to break into the first floor apartment next door. He explained to us that the person likely knew girls living there and were home because he tried to break into a bathroom where a girl had been showering. He'd broken a window and ran after the girl, screaming bloody murder. We told him about the man we'd seen in the window a week earlier. The police officer told us peeping toms aren't uncommon in college areas, and that the man had likely been scouting for a place to break into ahead of time. He told us he'd let us know if any more relevant information was uncovered, and said they'd be patrolling the area for the next few nights. After that, we never really heard anything about it. Comparing the two buildings, our windows were significantly lower than the windows on the building next door. I look back on that situation and wonder if the person only passed on our place because my boyfriend had been over the night he was looking in at us. It still freaks me out now, just thinking about it 5 years later. Nobody ever got caught, as far as I know. A young white man, who looked to be about 25, came up to my window at the gas station I work at. He is dressed very well, in a new red Nike sweater, new Nike shoes, a new baseball cap, and is freshly shaven. I approached the window, and he asked me about a particular energy drink that we don't carry, so nothing weird yet. When I tell him we don't have it, he looks super dejected and stands there for about 2 minutes without saying anything. I'm pretty patient and deal with weird people a lot, so I just wait silently. The young guy then asks me, "What should I do?" And I reply, "About what?" He then starts to tell me about how he hasn't eaten in 2 days and asks what he should do. This is typically a ploy for free stuff. I said, "You could buy some food. Do you have money?" He says, "I have $2, but I want an energy drink." We go back and forth for a minute until I tell him he should go to the local shelter as they will give him free food. This is obviously not what he wanted, and without another word, he runs off. I think, that's super weird, and go back to cleaning the store. An hour later, he returns, and this time it seems whatever he took, acid I assume, has hit him pretty hard. A car followed him, and a lady is speaking very loudly to him, though I can't understand what she's saying. He's smiling at her and nodding, then turns as she drives off. He approaches the window with a huge smile on his face. I ask him what I can get for him. He replies, "Your eyes, they're green. Did you know that's a very rare gene?" I just nod and smile as my eye color attracts a lot of comments, and I know better than to press weird conversations at 3 a.m. He continues, "It means you have light in your soul, rainbow light inside of you. Your name contains the name of Ra, from the sun god in Egyptian culture. You're a part of creation and the universe." I frown and don't say anything to him, as wearing a name tag always seems to elicit weird comments as well. He continues, "I have a very special $2 bill and 3/4 that, if invested correctly, will be worth a lot of money. I will pay with these. You need to keep them and use them to make money." He then proceeds to put 3/4, a $2 bill, and a pine cone in my box. I think how strange it is that he assumes I would be able to do anything with the money when it's the gas station's money, not mine. Also, that he put a pine cone in the box. I ask him, "What do you want to buy?" And I explain he can buy a water, some chocolate, and a tea with the amount he's given me, which fixes his issue of wanting to eat, get caffeine, and stay hydrated. He agrees with my suggestions. He seems grateful to me as I get his items, all while smiling very brightly at me through the window. I'm thoroughly stressed out by the unwanted eye contact the entire time. While I'm cashing out the transaction, he runs to the gas pumps and starts staring at the ceiling of the pumps. This goes on for a good 3 minutes or so. He then turns around and comes back. I give him his items and change, and again he starts to tell me about love and light and the universe, then asks me why I gave him the coins back. It wasn't the same coins. I explain I can't keep them as it's against policy to keep customers' change. He then bolts into the direction of the highway in front of my work with his items and disappears into the darkness. One of the weirdest encounters I've had yet. Also, I kept the pine cone as a trinket for myself to remember this encounter.